let's meet Parentology's Parents of the Week.
Hi, I'm Destiny Malone. I'm a first-time mom. This is my 16-month-old daughter, Grace, and she's the apple of my eye.
Hi, I'm Janaea Von Hassel, first-time mom to my 11-month-old son, Landon. He's my heart and soul.
Hi, I'm Lucas Manny, first-time father to a beautiful son, Calvin, who's 2 years old, and I can't wait to teach him to ice skate.
Are you going to be a parent for the first time and you are stressed out because you don't know what to do or what to expect? Well, don't stress out. Joining me today to give you some tips are Destiny Malone, Lucas Manny, and Janaea Von Hassel. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Glad to be
having us.
here.
So, what has changed since you became parents?
What hasn't?
What hasn't? Yeah.
Now, Destiny, you have Gracie.
Yes, she's
And how old is she?
16 months now.
16 months.
Yep.
Lucas, you have a boy.
Yep, over 2 years old.
And Janaea.
I have a son, Landon, and he's almost 11 months old.
Okay. So, what has changed in your life?
Well, I would say the biggest change has probably been not enough time to myself. She's a mama's girl, and as you can see, couldn't leave her off the set, had to come on with me. And she's very attached. And it was the end of the world if I had to take a shower, you know, and it was half-hour showers, no more. No, 10-minute showers now, or less.
I think a big thing is the things you indulge in, like suddenly like a shower is like, oh, I did something nice for me today, you know,
Exactly.
in the beginning. But
Yeah.
I found my son's 11 months, and I've started to find more freedom now than I had in the beginning. But
It definitely gets easier.
How about you,
Yeah.
Lucas?
I would say that, you know, going home after work, I'd want to like spend time with my son and my wife. So, you know, it wasn't like I used to go to the gym or go out to eat with friends. It's a lot like I felt not obligated, but I wanted to go home and spend time. But also, you know, I talked to her once on the phone a day, you know, so I don't get to see them as much. And so when I get home, I want to spend as much quality time with them. But then it seems to be like, well, where's the time for me? I'm working, and then I'm with my, you know, wife and son. So.
Right, and you have to work. Your wife's
Yeah.
a stay-at-home mom,
Yep.
and the two of you, since you've had your child, you became a stay-at-home mom as well, correct? Or no, Destiny, you work part-time.
I work at home part-time, yes. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm a working woman, so.
So is that putting more pressure in for you, for example, as a dad, the one who has to work? Does that put more pressure on your partners and you, for example, Lucas, who has to be the one being at work?
Yeah, I think so. And I would love to switch at some point, like just, you know.
She's watching you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, switch, like, just to try it, you know, like, because I come home and I'm like, so, you know, how was your day? And she's all, like, frazzled and everything. And then we talk about my day and everything. But, you know, work is stressful, but I think being a parent is as stressful as well. So,
my
you know.
husband flops, you know, he'll say, oh, I wish I could stay home. And then, you know, my son's having
His
a
mind.
cranky day, and he's like, I'm glad to go to work. I'll see you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It changes his mind.
Absolutely.
And in terms of expenses, has that changed?
I would say a little.
There's been some increase. Like our budget's gone up about $30 a week. We're very budget-oriented people, but we were kind of expecting that. Hasn't been far outside of our expectations.
Well, I think for the first one, you get the baby shower, you get all the new gifts, you
Yeah,
get all
you
the
do.
clothes, you get the crib, you know, pretty much everything, the stroller taken care of for, you know, the first one at least.
What is the number one item that you would say where you spend the most money?
Would be diapers.
Diapers.
What's an average a week?
We are like $50 a month or so
$50
on
a
diapers.
month?
Yeah.
Okay.
It varies with her because she's potty training too. So some weeks are better than other weeks, depends if she's sick or if she's teething. So it varies a lot.
And how about formula? Formula versus nursing. Are you your wife as well? Like, what did you decide?
She nursed in the beginning a little bit, but then we went to formula. So it did get kind of expensive, especially the Cinnamil or whatever we were buying was, you know, it was a good amount of money, like $20 you know, a can. It lasted maybe 2 weeks. It felt like 2 weeks probably.
Very
So.
expensive. I nursed my son, and when I considered switching, my son had an allergy to a milk protein that was coming through the breast milk, so I didn't have a lot of options as far as switching except to use like a hypoallergenic formula, which was a lot more expensive, almost twice what the other one was. So we stuck with that. We're kind of weaning right now at 11 months. So.
And how did you know that he was allergic?
That was, a lot of that was research on my own, just being up nights with him. He was, anytime I put him down on his back, he would cry, tell something was wrong. So when he was up, he was fine. But when he'd go down on his back, he'd wake up right away. And then he broke out all over his face. He had eczema. So I went on a gluten-free, peanut-free, milk-free diet, and then slowly introduced things back in to figure out what it was, and it was dairy.
What not to say to your wife during labor, or what not to say to your partner?
I don't have one of those. 'Cause I hope I didn't say anything wrong. So
I would say not to say, let's go to the hospital right now. Because, you know, you get a lot of contractions. You get a lot of, you know, Braxton Hicks, they call them practice contractions, when you're not actually having the baby yet. And when a husband hears, I'm having contractions, these are way strong, you know, let's go right now. And we got sent home the first time. And actually they told us, don't feel bad. Most girls come in and then have to come back again.
Remember that each contraction for your, I think it gets, for the husband, it can be this again. And I remember one time I was like 9 hours into labor and I was having a contraction and my husband walks away and comes back with a granola bar and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm hungry. But it gets to the point, I think it can.
So no granola bars, dads.
That doesn't happen. But it can just become very routine, and to remember that it doesn't feel that way on the other end.
Destiny, and you've also said one of the big things in that, you know, expectant parents say a lot, the whole quality time with your partner, you know, that things change after your baby, not just for you, you don't have time for yourself anymore, but now, you know, you have a little person in your life. Did that change a lot?
It brings you closer together. It really does. It's a new way to look, you know, now you're looking at him not only as your husband or, you know, whatever the case may be, but you're also looking at him as a father and saying, wow, look at how much he loves her. Look at, you know, I'm getting emotional here, but it's just, you know, it opens up a whole new world and a whole new way to, you know, say, wow, I really love that. I found a new way to love you, which you didn't think was possible even.
How about you, Lucas?
yeah, I would say you definitely. I felt like I had to push some issues with like, I want to go out on a date, you know what I'm saying? And she'd be like, well, let's all three of us. And I'm like, well, no, he throws food.
We've done that.
He screams and yells in the restaurant. You know, I want like just the two of us. So,
important.
you know, in the beginning it was tough because she was like, well, no, he can come with, he can do this, he can do that. And I'm like, oh, she's not picking up on my, she's not giving, you know, picking up on my signals.
Your cue.
Yeah, my
Right.
cue. So you know, my folks live close, which is nice, so that, you know, they take him in and watch him and everything. So, but it was in the beginning a struggle.
Did you lose a lot of sleep?
I did at first until I found gripe water, which I would recommend to any parent who's having a fussy child at night, through the night. You know, you can deal with a fussy child during the day, you're, you know, sleeping, whatever. When it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're screaming uncontrollably, and you're in tears because you don't know what's the matter, and you're doing the bicycle with their feet trying to help their gut, and you don't know what's going on. The gripe water, my husband used to call it something like a magic potion or something, because it seemed like as soon as it hit her tongue, quiet.
The Ferber method is like, let him cry completely. We were never going to do that far, but it did say, you know, let them cry it out, and they have to learn how to soothe themselves, and we finally did. My wife was not a fan of it, and I felt like I was holding her at times
hard?
not to run into the room, but he finally, after like 2 nights, had learned how to soothe himself to
So
sleep.
your final advice for expectant parents that are watching the show today, what do you want to tell them?
I would say don't make any, you know, statements about what you're going to do and definitely not going to do
Yeah.
until you have the baby and experience it for yourself.
How about you?
I just remember someone saying, you know, like, your life's going to change, and I kept saying, yeah, but no, it's not, and it really does. You know, like, no matter
But for
what.
good though, right?
It does for good, absolutely. But for good, like it's forever, yeah. But no, it changes, and you just have to know it's going to change. And, you know, I think you'll be fine.
I would say my piece of advice is that there's a lot of advice out there, and a lot of it's good when you need it. And when you don't need it, it's not necessarily good. It can kind of, there's no baby like yours on the planet, but there's no parent like you either. And that connection you have with your child and the way that you're going to interact with them isn't going to be the same as anybody else. And you know your child, you know.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
For the great tips that you've offered. If you have any other questions about the topic, or if you have a question for either one of these parents, just log on to my website, parentologywithpaula.com.